recently had groceries delivered and they just showed up. I need 2 minutes.
Damn it.
I'm sorry.
All right, go.
I'm sorry. I'll be back in a flash.
Everyone's like doing, because like Brittany was slightly late. You know, Jake has to do his thing. Also, Brittany has to like pick up her dog like at the vet's like a little sooner than I would like.
Yes. Well, I had to take him unexpectedly, and I have to get him before the vet closes. So this is going to be like a tight episode. Yeah. But sometimes those are the best, you know?
Yeah.
You get
that's nice.
they're action packed. You get a lot of bang for the buck.
Oh, yeah, but it doesn't help when Jake has to go get his goddamn groceries.
Well, I really blame the whole thing. Now it's all become Jake's fault.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you can push the blame onto Jake like you guys always do.
Yeah,
we do like to do that.
He joined the team, and now he's the reason everything goes wrong. The last episode or the episode before? I think it was the last episode. It was funny. Raul was all stressing out about shit. You guys kept messing with him. I think it was when you were mad because they kept interrupting you for doing intro.
Yeah. They kept doing. You know, like I like to have a couple of things that are my thing. And they're like, no. The way I think the system in my head works is like you know, like I'm the host, you know, Brittany's the talent, and Jake is the looks, you know, and so that's the way
Okay, my bad. Sorry about that.
No worries.
You're right.
Had to bring the milk in at least.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Zero If I Could, where comedians discuss absurd reviews. My name is Raul Zambrano.
I'm Brittany Hersbrun.
I'm Jake Disharoon.
And today with us is our guest, Dan Bublitz. Hello, Dan.
Hi. Hey, it's good to be here.
Dan was referencing last episode where Raul was getting frustrated because we interrupt him. And so Raul said that he's the host, I'm the talent, and you're the looks. And I got like at first I was like, that's so nice. And then I got really upset when he said that you were the looks, Jake. Not that you're not, but then that implies that I'm not.
Did you say that on the podcast?
I mean, it was recorded, but I didn't say it. Like, you know, I didn't do it post intro.
Okay. The only reason I asked because I have no memory of that whatsoever.
No. You were wrong to get your
groceries.
Oh, he just said it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Filling you in what you missed.
Okay. All right. I was gone for like 45 seconds, and it has fucked me up completely right off the bat. We're off on a bad.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you fucking leave the podcast for a second. All right.
We hadn't started yet. I would never leave after we started, except
That's
for that
a lie.
one time.
But it was such a high that I felt, and then an immediate low. It was like one time, I don't think we've told it on this iteration of the podcast, but Raul and I were out to eat once, and our waiter came up to the table and he started talking to us, and he's like, are you the people from that podcast? And we were like, oh, holy shit, that's cool. And we were like, yeah, definitely. Then Raul was more talking to him. And then he's like, yeah, like I really like that one episode you had recently. And Raul starts naming them. And then it turns out that the guy was talking about unsolicited advice that I had with David Zafra. And Raul was not involved in it at all. You just saw like Raul's face was like,
so sad.
That look of defeat sucked right out of you.
That is so perfect.
Yeah.
Because it had to be just such a specific thing. He had to know the podcast. He had to know your, unsolicited advice. He had to not know your other podcast. And he had to think that Raul was David Zafra.
Yes. And
that all had to line up in order for that slam to come together.
Yes. And Raul to be the one that was talking to him more than me and listing episodes. And the guy going, no, not that. No, not that. No.
And after all that,
the guy was probably like, are you sure you host this podcast? You don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's like, no, it was the one where the twin brothers were in a relationship with each other. And I was like, oh, that's my podcast. That's my other podcast.
Oh,
the universe just has a way of grounding us.
Yeah. I had to just sadly order my crunchy roll, just to connect. I just get some California rolls.
Like, what?
I can imagine, during that conversation, Raul's like polishing his nails on his shirt, like, "Oh, the podcast? Yeah, I'm the podcast guy.
Yeah, I'm the host of that podcast.
Call me Johnny Pod around these parts. It's just kind of my thing."
And it was in front of our friend Stephanie, so somebody got to witness him be.
Damn.
The only way it could have been better is if Raul was on a date with that.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
What was also fun is that Stephanie was also as equal as excited as I was.
Yeah.
She was like, listener in the wild, wow, and then
so
turns out.
Well, she still got, because she was excited because somebody recognized her friends from a podcast. She still got to be excited because they recognized me,
Yeah, just half as excited, because only one of her friends has a successful podcast, apparently.
I would like to think just as much as...
Maybe more.
Maybe.
Because now you're closer to her. You've been friends with Stephanie longer, so she would be more excited for you. And excited that Raul gets to feel bad for a second. That's cool.
Yeah. It was a great day. I guess this is my payback for that.
What a highlight.
Yeah, well, revenge is the best.
Raul's just looking at you guys. He's just looking at his screen like, just fuck all of you.
Sons of bitches.
That's fair.
Dan, what have you been up to since last time I saw you? I mean, we don't get to talk a whole lot, so it's like
just comedy and podcasts. That's mostly, and school. Those are the three.
What state are you in? You're not in California, are you?
No, I'm in Minnesota now. I live in St. Paul, Minnesota now.
So what are the guidelines like there? Are you guys masking everywhere, or are you kind of opening up?
It's slowly opening back up, but we're masked. We've been masked up. They've been mask mandates, reduced capacity at places. A lot of our bars and restaurants were closed for indoor dining off and on. It was just carry out and delivery and kind of stuff. So they've been doing a pretty good job with COVID out here versus some of our neighboring states. Now, my home state, on the other hand, that's a whole nother story.
What's your home state?
Yeah, South Dakota. Getting a lot of national recognition, but not for the right reasons.
Is South Dakota the highest? Oh no, it's Michigan. I think has the most hotspots, but South Dakota is one of them.
Our governor is all over the national media because of some of her hot takes. Or their governor, I should say. I guess I don't live there anymore.
Oh, yeah, you can disown her.
I can disown her. I don't live in South Dakota anymore. But their governor, yes. A lot of hot takes that have been all over the nation. National news.
Oh, that's always fun.
Exactly.
As long as people are talking about it. No such thing as bad press for a state, including a lot of people are dying here.
got a lot of hard, feelings against trans people and, people dying and all kinds of not so great things over there. A little embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole country was kind of going through that for about 4 straight years. So I think we know somewhat how you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's maybe only 4 states that are on the right side of those things at this point. So
yeah, it's far and few between. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
How different is comedy there than South Dakota? Is there any difference?
Comedy wise, I mean, not really. I mean, comedy's comedy wherever you're at. I mean, there's stuff that'll work better, regionally if you do regional humor. But as far as shows, and people still want to laugh, I guess there's certain areas for example, California versus out here. California, you can be a lot more liberal versus here. There's a lot more. It's more conservative. So got to be careful and delicate with how you present. If you're a political comic and do political humor and that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm safe. I don't do political humor, so it's all good.
I think that's the way to go.
I mean, political comedy is just generally not very good anyway, in my opinion.
I'm right there. I agree with you.
I mean, obviously there are funny people. I mean, I guess Bill Hicks did political comedy, sort of, but for the most part, guys that just only do political stuff. It's so boring.
Unless you have a show where you're supposed to talk about politics in a humorous way, like John Oliver or something, then I just don't really see why you would pigeonhole yourself into that in comedy.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of different. I mean, John Oliver was a stand-up, but his stand-up was not political. He did like observational story stuff.
I guess it's Trevor Noah too. He wasn't political, and then he got cast on what is it? What's that show?
The Daily Show.
The Daily
Show.
Yeah.
Christopher Titus does a really good job with doing political humor, and like I've seen him live and in a conservative state, and he does a good job of making fun of both sides with his humor. And I think that's the key, keeping it even.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I'm in a crowd, I don't want to feel like the guy on stage thinks I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Politics,
right?
So, I mean, I could take a punch or two, but there's a fine line you have to walk to just be like, hey, we're all having a laugh. We're all on the same team here.
Yeah,
that's hard, and that usually makes it kind of tepid and boring, in my personal opinion. Although I have not seen Chris Titus.
I feel like the more dividing thing in comedy is when you talk about sports. Then like people get fucking nuts. People start yelling and like.
I thought you were gonna say like most comedy fans just don't know anything about sports.
No. I mean,
comedy here.
Yeah, certainly, but that's a different than just like a rando at a club. Like that's a different thing.
That's true.
People like to get very mad about sports in general, especially when a comedian just says the name of a sports team. They'll like boo and then be genuinely upset after the show.
I used to get very mad about sports as well sometimes, but not it was only if people started talking shit about Phillip Rivers, or if people would talk shit about the Chargers at the height of me liking them. If I knew that person didn't actually really follow football, then I would get mad because it was just like a thing that people would say, like, "Oh, the Chargers suck." I'm like, "Yeah, tell me why they do." Because like,
you wouldn't heckle someone at a comedy show, though. I would assume
if there was a comedy show and someone was like, "Oh, I love the Raiders," I wouldn't be like, "Boo, fuck you." But yeah, no, but I would get into heated arguments with people about Phillip Rivers and the Chargers sometimes. But yeah.
She would be the person that comes up to the comic after the show to tell them how they feel about that.
Yeah. Well,
I was very offended about what you said, Mr. Rivers.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers is very hot and very funny.
He's my boyfriend, and you have to defend your boyfriend.
I'm always like, I'm not invested in sports at all, so.
You don't say.
Okay. Like having an argument about sports doesn't really, like, it's tough for me to even understand what that would be.
Look, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I understand that. Like I know when I hear people say like, oh, everybody likes, like I totally understand that everybody likes their team for certain reasons, and most of it is like where you were born and what you grew up watching, and really like it has nothing to do with you. But for some reason, it'll get you fucking heated if you like a team and people start to like some of the more mad that I've ever, because I don't really get angry very easily. It's not like one of my primary emotions. Like I don't really care a lot. But that's one of the more angry like things that I'll get mad about in my life. Yeah.
As she's getting kind of passionate and angry right now, and nobody said anything bad.
Just broaching the concept of talking about sports. It's like,
but
listen, you don't like sports, okay?
People.
But I mean, actually mad where I'll be like, fuck you. Like, I don't even like want to. Yeah. Like the most mad I've ever gotten on this podcast was when Raul tried to say I didn't finish Dune on time. I was actually.
And I have apologized. And because
you haven't apologized publicly. Yeah.
Right.
Do it now.
Yeah.
Do it now.
To all our listeners, I apologize. I was incorrect. Brittany did finish Dune on time. And so
you're just apologizing to the listeners for misleading them. You're not apologizing to your friend for accusing her of being a liar. That's interesting.
That's correct. Yes, that is what I'm doing.
Okay,
so I'm so
moving on.
Well played.
For being not factual.
Yeah.
I apologize. That is my mistake.
Because people think of you as People think of you as sort of a Walter Cronkite figure where they need to be able to trust what you say to be the literal truth. Otherwise, they're directionless. They're lost in life.
And then in this instance, I was wrong, and I'm sorry.
Well, it takes a big man to admit that.
Well done. Well done.
Is that a fat joke, Jake?
I mean, I guess.
The band is definitely breaking up.
I feel like we always seem like we're about to break up every episode.
Yeah, it's funny because I record at my parents' house because our Wi-Fi is bad if Raul and I are in the same home recording. And yesterday we were doing an episode and my mom said, it just sounds like you're arguing with your friends. Is that what your show's about? Like,
I mean, kind of. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's not what it's about, but that is what happens. Sure.
Yes. I don't think we've had you on, Dan, before, so we've never asked if you've had a review written about you or any harsh criticism that you've ever received.
I've had some criticism. I have a couple favorites that I pulled up for this.
Great.
Not reviews for jobs. These are more like comments on things, but they were really, really funny. One was a comment on a poster from a Facebook event page that for a show that was being promoted that I was headlining. And a guy, this is what he said. He said, checked it out. Dude has 2 fans, not 2,000, not 200. Dude literally has 2 fans. I'm out.
So not enough other I were your fan, quote unquote. So he had to bail. It's like, I can't. I don't want to be a third wheel. Those other 2 fans probably get along really well.
Yeah, he didn't say whether or not he liked it. It had no bearing on whether you were good or not.
Yeah, and I have no idea where he got the number 2. If maybe it was 2 people responded going to the event or what. Because if he would have checked any of my social media, I have no social media with just 2 followers on it or whatever. But that turned into a funny bit because now my Twitter, my name that I put on there is old 2 fan Dan.
I like that.
Yeah. That's good. So I mean, he actually helped you out because he helped
did.
your
I
brand.
got a nickname out of it. I turned that around and started branding with it. I did a photo shoot with 2 fans, between 2 fans with Dan.
That's funny. You got to take it back. That's why my Instagram handle is bitchneyh, because when I was in 2nd grade, some little boy called me bitchney, and that's mine now.
That's right. Take the power.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's pretty bold to call a woman a bitch in 2nd grade.
2nd grade. Yeah, I'm not even sure if I knew.
I would have been scared to say the B word.
Then the other thing was a comment on a video that I put out on YouTube. I was doing the YouTube shorts and I was doing these writing challenges where I was just doing like a joke a day. And the joke wasn't that great. It wasn't even a joke. I don't even remember. It had to do with the 7, 8, 9. You know how they say 7, 8, 9, whatever. Then I did something 10, different. 11, 12, 13. Yeah, and I don't remember what it was exactly, but the person commented and they go, "This is unanswerable and childish. So no, this is not a riddle. A riddle has to make sense for a logical answer. Otherwise, it's a joke and a really bad one at that. Don't give up your day job, bub."
Did Raul write that? Because Raul gets very serious about riddles. He really
that one I got.
I do love riddles.
Maybe that was
this guy thought it was a riddle, which you clearly state it's a joke in all your videos.
Hashtag joke of the day.
Yeah,
but I also said maybe this is more of a riddle than a joke.
But it's also funny to me that like, so this guy thinks that like you can make a day job as a riddler. You know,
maybe
don't quit your job at the bank in order to become a professional riddle writer. Like it's clearly your dream.
Maybe you should go work for Laffy Taffy, bub.
Yeah,
you definitely ain't gonna write riddles.
Okay, so I'll read a review. So this is for Costco, and it's actually by one of the same reviewers that I read from last week. So they write a pretend letter to the person that they're upset with. But it starts with, excuse me, has anyone located the 0 or -star button because I am in dire need of it? Note to self, attempt at all costs to avoid Costco on weekends, especially weekends that include a holiday. I suppose it takes a while for things to sink in. Humph. Dear rude parking spot thief, I apologize for my aggression towards you in the Costco parking lot Saturday. I really apologize that at your age, you are not aware of common parking lot etiquette. I forget sometimes that any human with a shred of common sense does not know that a vehicle with a blinker waiting longer for a spot holds precedence over a car with no blinker that has been waiting half the time. I am sorry you are a loony old bat and you have on socks with your grandma's sandals. I'm really sorry that I don't give a damn that you are old as dirt. I also want to go ahead and apologize for the checker that had to deal with you when you walked your happy ass into Costco with a large box 1/5 full of rotten strawberries. Why do I apologize for him? Oh, I don't know. Possibly because he has to break simple information to you that you should have already known about. The reason your strawberries are rotten is not because they're defective, but because they've been in your refrigerator for a month. I'm also sorry you're lame and I'm not. Oh, wait, ... F you.
Wait, what?
Hold on,
The
wait a
cap
minute.
on that is, oh wait, no, I'm not sorry. Not, oh wait, fuck.
That was a
F you.
review for Costco.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they
No, that's
left
a
a
good point.
review for Costco, but they were really leaving a review for the person that cut them off in the parking lot.
Yeah, Costco doesn't enter into this equation in any way, really.
Other than her
It was
feeling bad for the checker.
Yeah.
Yeah, their return policy is so great. They're very upset.
Was this like 5 stars?
It was a 1-star review,
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately.
That
Yeah.
has
Of course
nothing to
it
do with
was.
I will
It
say
was
this is
Costco.
Costco didn't earn that.
this is another thing that makes me like very angry, 0 to 60 very quick. If somebody steals my parking spot, I will lose my fucking mind. Like I will get out of the car and like go tell people to move. Like one time this person was trying to steal my spot and she was looking at me and she just kept like going like like making this like face and I kept shaking my hand like nah, and she kept going like putting her head up and down nodding like yes I am, and I was like no you're not. And she was definitely in the position to get into the spot first because she was on their side and they were backing out towards me, so blocking me first. But I swear to, I was like, I don't give a fuck about my car, lady, and I don't know if you do because I've had this car for 10 years. So like I was like, I don't care. I like slammed on the gas and like as quickly as I could like turn in that spot while she was turning. She almost slammed into the side of my car and I was like, fuck you. Like I so yeah.
God.
What was her reaction? Did she just have to like drive away? Like,
oh, she was pissed. Yeah, she had like a bunch of like kids in her car too.
Oh,
like, what
geez.
a weird lady. But well, yeah, because it was like if it was just a normal circumstance.
because of just the kids. Not even the
What?
Yeah,
parking.
just because.
I think it's a weird thing to like get into a confrontation with somebody over a
Well,
parking
yeah.
spot and steal a parking spot from somebody and have like this weird attitude when you have like several kids in your car. Yeah, I think that's weird. But I wouldn't get mad if it was like, oh, there's plenty of spots, but it was at a specific place where it's super hard to find parking every time you go. So I would drive around for like 20 minutes. And then I was like, I'm not playing this fucking game with you, lady. Like, no way. That was the same parking lot where somebody tried to steal my friend's spot while she was driving and I was in the car and I got out of the car and I was like, you're not taking this spot. And she was like, fine. Like, it gives me this weird just like confidence. Like I wouldn't tell someone to put a mask on in a grocery store, even though I feel very passionately about that. But like I will get out of the car and tell someone they need to move.
Well, you're so right is the thing. Like they have no defense. They are purely being a selfish asshole.
Yeah.
I just hope you don't run into that one person that's like, oh, you're going to stand in that spot? I'm going to take your power away and just runs you over.
I know my friend once has, yeah, I mean, that could be very bad. But I know my friend once is like, if you don't move your car out of the spot, I'm going to key your car. And then they were like, okay. So they moved. And she never would have. Like, she's
wow.
But it's like, you know, you got to throw down.
Yeah, people need consequences. If you're going to be a dick like that, there's got to be some repercussions.
And it's
You're
always
talking-
awkward when you see them in the store. store after.
Well, I was gonna ask. So the lady writing this review, it was like, okay, she had the confrontation in the parking lot, and then she knew about the fight that the other person had with the person.
Feels like she followed her.
Did she follow her in to check out her strawberries that had gone bad?
Which leads me to believe she found another spot very quickly and easily, so this probably wasn't worth the confrontation to begin with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably not. Definitely wasn't worth a 1-star review for Costco.
No, because Costco is the best place on the planet, really. And holiday weekends, unlike she said, are the best weekends to go. Yes, it's really busy and that sucks, but the most samples that you could ever get are on those weekends.
You hear that, gentlemen? That's when you take your dates to Costco. Holiday weekends.
I would be
Like a buffet
excited.
in there.
I would be excited if I went on a date with maybe not a first date, but maybe like a second or third. We're going to Costco, and they were like they were very confident about getting samples, because sometimes I get nervous because there's big crowds, and then I don't want to like push my way and like steal. Or my mother, because she will push her way up there. She doesn't care. She's getting that sample for me. So
the perfect team is a man that will not be afraid to push their way up for the sample, and Brittany to make sure they get a good parking spot.
yes.
Well, the ideal couple.
Power
couple.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to raise the bar on your dates, Brittany. That's what you're building up to. Costco. That's your third date. Like you start here, and then the height of dating.
Okay,
Costco.
Raul,
That's like
what's your
relationship testing.
what's your ideal third date? What's a perfect third date for you, Raul?
I don't know.
You do invite her to one of your comedy shows?
No, maybe some karaoke. Maybe some.
That's what you would do on a first date.
And the third. First, second, third, and fourth, and fifth. Every weekend, baby. Let's go.
Got to get to the third date.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, going to Costco for a second date is very funny. Just like, first date, the guy shows up in a suit, and you go to like a nice restaurant. Second date, like, hey, I'm wearing my sweats. You want to hit the Costco?
Maybe
Get
just
some
like
free
cheese
and crackers.
I think it's just like evolving into what Brittany likes to do, and so the fourth date is just them napping.
Yeah,
It's the whole day.
maybe we wake up and go to the movies and then come back and nap some more.
I like that. Brittany's perfect man is just someone who's severely depressed.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll sleep until 2 p.m. and then we'll go to the movies, and then we'll come back and we'll take a Klonopin, and then we'll watch a scary movie, and then we'll go to sleep.
Wow.
Where does Costco fit into that equation?
Oh, well,
for the weekend.
Yeah, that's on the weekend.
Okay. I got you.
You got to get to Costco before 4 p.m. though, because that's when the samples start dwindling, and sometimes it's hard when you wake up.
Hard to wake up in
Yes.
time to get to Costco by 4 p.m.
I got out of bed at 3:20 p.m. last Saturday, Jake. So this isn't really a hypothetical situation.
I know, but I was making fun of you for sleeping until 3:20 p.m. That was kind of the point.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I should do a sleep study like you.
Wow.
Yeah, you definitely should if you sleep until 3 in the afternoon.
People have different circadian rhythms, and
I wish I could sleep till like 8 a.m. That would be amazing.
That is so weird to me. Are you like a 6 a.m.er every day?
By 7 for sure, but usually around 6 a.m.
What time do you go to bed, Dan?
It varies. Okay. A lot of times though, on a typical night, if I'm not out doing comedy, I'm usually in bed by probably go to bed about 10, but I lay in bed and watch TV for an hour or so. So 11:30 before I fall asleep.
Okay.
But I've only need like 5 or 6 hours of sleep. It's like I get 5 hours of sleep, a good 5 hours of sleep, and my body's like, all right, let's rock.
That's nice. Yeah, I rationalize it by like I fall asleep at like 4 a.m. every night, which is true, but then it's still 12 hours of sleep.
Yeah, even with like that little cushion.
Falling asleep at 4 a.m. getting up at noon, that makes sense, but still the 12 hours.
I have always been that way, though. Always. So
Some people can. They can just sleep. My fiance is that way. She can sleep and sleep and sleep. That's her favorite thing to do. So that's where we're kind of opposite, because I'm like up early and she's like, you need to leave. I'm staying here in bed for another 4 or 5 hours because it's the weekend.
When you wake up, though, Dan, are you filled with dread?
No.
Oh, well then, yeah, I am. So
That's a very deep question.
Well,
No.
When you wake up, do you regret it? And do you hate your life?
No, actually, I'm surprised. When I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I made another day.
that would be very exciting to feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I live a very unhealthy life. I mean, I'm a big fat guy that I'm afraid that any moment I'm just going to have a heart attack. So anytime I wake up in the morning, I'm just like, I did it. I made another day.
Another one in the Dan column. Suck it,
exactly.
Death.
Exactly. Dan 1, Death 0.
Jake, do you have a review for us?
Sure. This is going to be very short. This is for the F&F Bait and Tackle Shop in Miami, Florida.
Okay.
This review is 3 stars. Okay, bait shop. Response from the owner. Thanks, we appreciate the support. Now, what this tells me is that this bait shop has a profoundly low self-esteem. Where they, not only do they like the fact that they got a 3-star review, which is actually pretty bad.
Yeah.
But also they went out of their way to thank somebody for doing it. If somebody said, hey, Jake, he's fine, I guess, whatever, I wouldn't be like, oh, this is my dude for life. I love this guy. Thank you. I needed to hear that today. That's probably not where I would go. I'd be like,
oh that's hilarious.
Yeah,
now, you said it was F&F Bait Shop?
It's F&F Bait Shop.
Okay, so if that doesn't stand for fishing and fishing, I feel like they're really missing the boat.
Fishing and fishing.
Boat.
Fishing and fishing baits.
And what would make a bait shop excellent?
That's a great question. I mean, I would imagine it has to do with the selection of bait. I don't know what else you could
I don't think any of us know enough about fishing.
No, actually, I do. I mean,
fish,
I grew up in the Midwest. I did fishing all my life. I think for it depends on what kind of bait it is. So, like, if it's a live bait shot, if all their like minnows and stuff are dead, or they don't have any like night crawlers or things like that. That's going to make it a bad bait shop. I think also if they don't have, all the good stuff for fishing, like beer and, snacks, that's probably another thing that would make it not an okay bait shop.
Or if somebody steals your parking spot.
Yeah, that would be a bad.
For some people, that would be a 1-star review if that happened.
Yeah.
So.
I didn't know bait shops were supposed to have beer and snacks. So if I went to one for the first time, I'd be like, oh, great bait shop if they didn't have it. But knowing that now.
Well, and at least around here, there are some that are just like bait shops, but most bait shops are like convenience stores that sell live bait. So it's like an in addition, because you can't have like a whole store of just bait. Like there's not enough things to sell.
Yeah.
The standard bait is minnows and not like night crawlers and worms. And then I suppose like along the ocean, they probably have like schmelt or something like that.
Every bait shop that I've ever seen usually labels itself as a bait and tackle shop.
Yep.
Now, I don't want anyone to tell me, but I have no idea what tackle is. I understand bait. It goes on the hook and it attracts the fish. Tackle, no idea. And I like not. I don't want to know.
But
why
I
would
want
you do
to
that
know
to me?
now.
Well, tell Brittany later.
I'll Google it.
Oh man, you're killing me. Oh,
sorry.
Too bad.
I prefer to live in ignorance. It's life isn't worth living unless you have a little bit of mystery. And for me, not knowing what tackle is.
I hope that one day you walk into a bait and tackle shop just to solve the mystery.
I probably will. Like, hey, give me all your tackle, and then they'll pull something from behind.
If okay, Dan, if he said give me all of your tackle, would he look really stupid?
Yes.
Okay.
You hear that? You look real dumb, Jake.
Especially if he would wait for them to pull it from behind the counter.
Oh, do they have to go to the safe? Like pull a painting of the president off the wall and then spin the safe.
There's a whole process to it.
This is where we keep our tackle, and then there's like 2 keys. 2 different people have to open it at the same time.
You walk in and you say, "Give me all the tackle," and they're gonna hit the silent alarm button.
Although, in fairness, if I walked in, I know what bait is, but if I walked in and I said, "Hey, give me all your bait," that'd be pretty silly too. Nobody buys all
that
bait
absolutely would. But even if you walked in and be like, "Hey, I'd like 1 tackle," that's
your finest tackle, sir.
I'd like the finest tackle. You're still gonna, they're gonna look at you and laugh.
Yeah, I like palm a 20 into the guy's hand. Give me the good tackle. You know what I mean? Not everybody tackle, but like the good shit.
That's funny.
I know what it is now. I looked it up.
Are you
it's
disappointed
not that,
or surprised or
it's
nothing?
Not that
it's
surprising.
It's very shocking.
Are you sure you don't want to know now, Jake?
Now I want to know even less because I have that experience waiting for me. The experience of finding out what tackle is.
The funniest part about this is already know what it is. You just don't know that you know what it is.
Oh.
Speaking of riddles.
Wow. Are you saying I've used tackle before in my life?
I just want Jake to get bait and then pummel the cashier because he's like bait and tackle, bruh. That's what it is.
That is something I would do, yeah, regardless.
Yeah. You're so strong.
I'm pretty powerful. I'm like alpha.
Yeah.
Big macho aggressive guy.
Raul, if you say that one more fucking time.
I said that's why he's the looks, because you're so big and strong. And Brittany could not be more offended.
Yeah.
Okay. Raul, why don't you read a review?
Yeah. Don't mind if I do. So this review is for a company called Zine. And that's a Glassdoor review. And this is based on the suggestion by Stephen Gabor, one of our followers. So it's a review for the company Zine. And starts off with the pros. And it says, pros, good snacks. Cons, beware. Job was nothing like what I was sold on to begin with. Free dinners, unlimited PTO, flexible hours. All a bunch of fluff. Do not become a Zine slave, whatever you do. Expect to work 60 hours per week. So if you are having a family, I would recommend either finding another job or ask your parents/friends to look out for your significant other to make sure they don't cheat on you. If you are single, expect to stay single. If you're married, expect a divorce. If you told the managers that you want to spend more time with family, they would constantly stress that the economy is not doing well. Sometimes they even have the nerve to say, okay, how about you go home early today and spend the rest of the day with your family? But before that, can you do this for me? Then you end up working until 11 p.m. to finish the things they assigned to you. And that's the end of the review.
Maybe
that sounds like a disgruntled comedian.
So this is, where was this review posted? This is on Yelp?
On Glassdoor.
Glassdoor. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
So it sounds like this person had a very specific thing happen to them.
Their spouse probably cheated on them. It seems like it.
And they are taking it out on everything in their life that has nothing to do with the real reason that their spouse cheated on them.
It did lean a little heavy into the relationship, like just giving every possible relationship configuration and saying it'll be bad. Like if you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, they're going to cheat on you. If you're single, you will remain single. And if you're married, you're probably going to get divorced. Now, if you're polyamorous, it will affect some of your relationships, probably not others that are more casual.
I actually thought this was a review for like a convenience store or something because it started off with the pros, the snacks. I was like, oh, okay. And then it went into like reviewing working there, like as a job. I was like, wait, they have a job at the convenience store? Like, where's this going? I'm so confused.
Well, a lot of companies have free unlimited snacks in the kitchen, so
Yeah, and I think that was their only pro. They're like, listen, snacks are great, but your wife will fuck another man.
Because it said you need to have your parents or friends look after them. So it's like they were at work, their spouse cheated on them, and now they blame their job for it.
Their job and their friends and their family, because they apparently weren't looking out for their spouse well enough, because apparently that's what he recommends.
All right, cut them some slack. They're busy working all the time. They're working the 60, 70 hours a week to provide a living for their significant other so that they can go and folly-gaggle or whatever they do with other people. And they got a right to be mad at their boss.
I'm firmly anti-boss on this podcast, unless my personal boss is listening, in which case, what's up, Chris? A lot of respect. But in general, bosses can go fly a kite, if you know what I mean.
Whoa.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry to get political.
So you want them to have a really nice time on a perfect day outside in a park?
Depends on how much you enjoy flying a kite. To me, it's a little dull.
It's really hard. I feel like it never works out the way you want it to. It's very frustrating.
I mean, it's more of a kid thing. I cannot imagine trying to fly a kite now. I'm too old. I couldn't hack it.
I think you kind of just stand around and the wind does
exactly.
Okay.
I thought you meant like too much work for Jake's old bones.
I see.
Can I bring my gamer chair?
Well, that does make you more of a child, and it would be socially acceptable for you to fly kites.
You cannot. You are also in the exact same type of chair. You cannot do this.
He has a jacket.
But mine's cooler. Though. It's like black and white.
I just want to see Jake try to fly a kite now.
I know that would be very.
That'd be so creepy.
I don't know that he could do it. That's the thing.
It would be creepy.
Yeah, people would really be like, "What the fuck is this guy?"
If you were alone,
at a park.
If you were alone at a park flying a kite, what adjective would you use for that? What do you think that would look like to people?
Mysterious.
Very.
Sexy.
I would be confused.
People would think that you had a non-innocent motivation for it. They'd be
let's
suspicious.
just say that. Let's keep it at that.
Like I'm there to kill a guy? Is that what you mean?
No,
like I'm
not a guy. But maybe think smaller.
High stakes jewel robbery. Is that what
a small guy, a very small.
Very small.
Oh my god! Suddenly, I'm like looking back on my childhood and thinking, "Oh my god."
Did you have a Jake in your life that was flying a kite?
All those men in their 30s.
Yes, there were people.
God,
I definitely, as a child, ran into a dude or two that was flying a kite at a park.
I mean, I do think there's a type of innocent, nerdy guy who would be doing that, but there's also a type of less innocent guy who has figured that a kite is a perfect ploy to lure children.
Yeah.
And I won't say any more.
Okay.
Well, that got awkward.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I didn't bring this. It's not like I started this.
Listen, just stop flying kites, Jake, please.
I haven't touched a kite in 20 years, at least.
Yeah, it's 20 years, too soon. So
what?
I don't know.
Doesn't even make sense.
Right. Yeah.
That's like that makes about as much sense of me trying to say the word that I was saying, and I got like flagging goggling or whatever it was. Like it's not even a word.
Yeah,
lollygagging was that? I think is that
maybe lollygagging was. I don't. That was probably the word. Jake got it.
Yeah, I mean, that means I'm cheating. Lollygagging just means kind of goofing around.
Right.
Yeah. What I said, no sense at all.
Yeah, my wife can lollygag if I'm at work. That's fine. Just goofing around, loitering at the house. No problem. But no philandering or flogging gagging.
That sounds
I don't
worse.
know what that is.
It sounds worse.
Benny, do you have another review for us?
Yeah, this one is short. It's for a place called Snappers Seafood and Spirits, and it's since closed. It was in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. It's a 1-star review. It says, "Man, this place is a failure. I don't have much of anything to say. This place is a sorry excuse for anything to replace Eddie B's. I'd take drug trafficking and underage hoes over this boring place any day. Epic fail.
I like that. They're just openly admitting, like, I would be a pedophile.
It was
Well,
a real
from what
kite flyer, if you know what I
The
mean.
news is reported on Florida. That's not uncommon.
Yeah. What is?
This was written by Matt Gates. Yeah.
I thought the part was funny where he was screaming, but he's saying, I don't have much of anything to say. And then continues to say things.
He did have one very interesting thing to say, which was bring back the child prostitutes. That's an odd sort of...
And drug trafficking. But it just
drug trafficking I got no problem with. But the child prostitutes, it's a little more serious in my eyes.
But how does that relate to a restaurant? You would take drug trafficking and underage hoes over a seafood restaurant.
Well, it depends. What was Eddie's? Now I'm curious because it seems like this place. It seems like Eddie's was a place that closed.
And they probably
was
had
in that
drug
spot.
trafficking.
A bada bing situation.
It got bought out or whatever, and then now this new place is in that spot, and they're angry about that.
Yeah. Okay. I see. Yeah. I probably would like a shitty place that was pretty sketchy over like a Snapper's Seafood and Spirits. That just sounds, it doesn't sound like a fun place.
Yeah, I think
now if they just named it Snappers, left it at that.
Yeah, that's got pizzazz.
Yeah, I think I'd probably still go with the boring one that doesn't have the child prostitutes. If I had to choose, a gun to my head, it's like, do you want a boring restaurant that you're probably just not going to go to, or do you want a restaurant that's admittedly a little bit more fun and exciting, admittedly, but also people are committing major crimes?
I mean, he's speculating, Jake. You don't know.
I'm just taking this guy at his word.
Okay.
Wait a minute. But what if he was saying it in the sense that the Snappers place was the sketchy place and like the dangerous place, and he's saying I would take these other dangerous things over going to this place because this place is too risky.
So bad. Yeah. What then, Jake?
So bad. It's so risky.
What if he said something else that he didn't say in the review? I don't know. I guess I don't have.
No, he said that in the review. I'm saying, but what if that's what he meant?
Yeah, we don't know what he meant. What if he got really bad food poisoning at Snappers? Would you take like let's say the food poisoning lasts 4 to 5 days, as food poisoning does,
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that, or would you rather go to a bar that has drug trafficking and underage hoes?
You guys are really trying to sell me on this underage hose thing, and
you started with the kites, all right? We didn't start with kites.
No. I didn't start any of this. I started none of it. I want that. This is recorded.
I feel like you said go fly a kite. You were the one to say that.
Okay.
You brought up kites.
I'll give you that one.
And
I did mention kites.
And why else would you say that if you weren't a kite person, like a person, like a kite flyer?
Okay, I guess I owe the listeners an apology. In my head, mentioning the existence of kites was not a tacit endorsement of child prostitution. I see now, after this conversation, that I was in the wrong. I fucked up, and I promise to do better in the future.
We're going to have to do a trigger warning because of this episode, because of you.
Because of me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll let the listeners judge for themselves how we got into this territory.
It's probably Raul, to be honest.
Yeah.
After all, he is the host.
Yeah, he should be able to steer anything. If something's veering off course, Raul should be able to get it right back.
You're responsible for the direction of the pod.
He just let it go.
I'm just letting Jake be the looks, I just let him go. You guys can't see, but Brittany is so angry.
She just closed her eyes and took a deep breath. And as she closed her eyes, I know what she was thinking. I hope you try to steal a parking spot from me one day so I can run you over.
I have a hammer in my car, and ooh, Raul.
Do you keep? Is that your emergency hammer for in case you have to get violent?
Self-defense hammer.
Yeah.
It really is a self-defense hammer, yeah.
That's
Or I
it.
guess if I
Well,
fall in
I mean,
a lake, I can
I
bust
thought
through
I
them.
was crazy. I have a tomahawk axe. That's
Well,
what
I am a girl. I should have something in my car to protect myself.
You should have a
Yeah,
tomahawk
like
axe.
a gun.
I agree with you. I wasn't saying that. I was just saying that I thought I was crazy because I thought I was a
I see.
weirdo because I have an axe in my truck, and you're talking about having a hammer, a self-defense hammer. I'm like, oh, axe doesn't seem as weird as having a self-defense
Well,
hammer.
have you ever gone on a date with a girl and picked her up in your car and she saw your axe? Really terrifying.
No, that has never happened. Because
Well,
I don't go on dates.
Mm.
Oh,
I'm
yeah, you're
practically an old married man, so
So she knows you've got your
yeah, she knows that I
self-defense
have.
medieval weaponry.
It's also got a hammer on it. It's there's multi-purpose for what.
So it's like a halberd. There's like a fantasy, like Lord of the Rings type weapon.
Yeah, exactly. I don't actually have it under my seat. It's like attached to the car. You know, I drive like a catapult with all these medieval weapons.
Yeah.
Jake, do you have another review for us?
This is my slightly longer one. This is for Tom's Automotive Wrecker Service in Corinth, Mississippi.
Wrecker, like WRE.
Yep.
Okay.
I think it's like a towing service.
Okay.
1 star. Do not use them. Worst people ever. Absolutely rude. Cursed at me and hung up twice. And that was the owner. The driver was actually very nice. When I called in, I explained the car was down in a hole in a wooded area because I did not want to waste money paying for a tow and then not be able to get it. I was told that she was sure they would be able to. When the driver got there, he was unable to get the car out. The driver said we would be reimbursed and to call about how that was handled. I called and was talked to very rudely by the owner, and she then cursed and hung up on me. Twice. She wouldn't even let me talk and said I was talking over her. When I told her this was customer no service, she said, I'm the owner. I don't give a blank.
What do you think she said?
Hoot?
I don't
I have
blank
so
part.
many questions.
I don't give a hoot.
Oh, a hoot. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
How
That's
does a
customer
car
no service?
end up in a hole in the woods? Like that's a lot. Like I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
Could use
like
more
a big
details.
enough hole that you can't get a car out of. Like you had to have seen that.
I really want to know the backstory. And I feel like this is a review where if I was writing it, I would know that it seems so out there
That's
that
interesting.
in brackets, I would be like, here's why my car was in the hole for anyone reading this.
Yeah,
because-
right.
Yeah.
For anyone using this review as comedy fodder on a podcast, here's what happened. I'm gonna say by a drunk driver or whatever.
Because it seems like they really went out of their way to put that car in the hole. Like it was like, let's see if how good this wrecker service is. We'll put this car in a hole and see if they can get it out. I mean, they said they could. They said they could get any car from anywhere.
You think this is like a secret shopper situation where they were hired by the Better Business Bureau to intentionally drive their car into a hole in the woods and dare the owner to come and drag it out?
I'm picturing like a Michael Scott GPS situation where it's like turn left right here, and they're like, this doesn't look like it, but I guess I'll turn left because that's what it's telling me to do, right into a big hole next to a tree. I just wonder if they were in the car when it happened. Like, did they escape a car crash only to call a towing company to have someone yell and curse at them as they just nearly died?
I mean, I got to assume that that's what happened, just because that's the funniest explanation, the funniest series of events. But
That's funny.
it is cool that they got into a fight with somebody over customer service, and they were like, "This is terrible customer service," and the person got to say, "I own the fucking company. I don't. Who are you going to complain to?
Yeah, I don't care.
Oh, call my boss then. Call my boss. Oh, wait a minute, that's me."
That would be,
Duh.
you know that you can say that too, even if you're not, and people probably won't question it.
I guess that's true. I could just be doing that. I could walk around Target and anytime someone has a complaint.
Have you
be like,
guys
"Hey,
seen that?
I don't give a fuck. I own Target. I'm Jim Target."
Have you seen that TikTok video of the guy? He's got like a mustache, and it's and he's like, "Do you think I care that you don't get in the service? I work at IKEA and I'm halfway through my 2-week notice. Come at me."
I've always
That's
wanted
good
to
energy.
be like on the last leg of a job and know that you're about to leave just so you can
Yeah.
be so, but it's just never worked out like that for me at a place.
It would be nice if you could like solve customer disputes by combat of trials. You know, like you just you have one in like at work, or maybe it refreshes every year, and just like this is the one that I just want to fight this person, and
Yeah,
and then we'll settle it that way.
That would not be good.
self-defense
for
acts
me.
would come in handy.
Yeah.
That's right. See,
But you got to pick who it is. So Brittany, if it's someone that if you feel like you can take on,
Yeah.
it's like,
I don't know
maybe
that
I should
I-
have that option.
I don't know that I confidently feel like I could take anybody in a fight, honestly. I'm really not strong.
I think
or anything.
I believe in you. I think you could beat a couple people up.
Yeah, I think if you I think you would want the weapon where it's like a trident and a net. That's the one that you want because you get the distance, and that's really how you do it. But I think with that you can do some damage. You can kill somebody. I believe.
get him in the net, and then you can beat the crap out of him.
Yeah.
I was thinking like hand-to-hand combat, and then I was like, I guess I gotta like tackle them below the knees. You just gotta run and like hug them, and then you knock them
Yeah.
over, right? That would be
You
a good tactic, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
you got to bait and tackle.
You gotta bait and tackle.
Oh my god!
I think a
we brought it
better way-
full circle. Yes.
For good. We're going to even go one step further. I think for better customer service, the road to customer service, good customer service, is solving a riddle first.
There we go.
Ooh, like the Sphinx.
It's like I will give you what you want, but first,
Yes, exactly.
And this.
On 4 legs in the morning. Yeah.
I'm gonna do one last review because I said I would do this one for a follower. Okay. So I got one last review here. This is a review for a colonoscopy surgeon, and this was suggested by a follower named Louis B.
I hope it's more than 1 star.
It is not. It is 1 star,
Okay.
and it says, "As far as being a surgeon, I am sure Dr. Worsey, he is top notch. He did an abdominal mesh on me about 10 years ago, and it has been fine. As a person, he is an asshole. I work as an RT in a big hospital and deal with doctors all day long, and this guy takes the cake. What really put him over the top was that I came in for a follow-up visit after my surgery, and he had the fucking balls to complain to me about how slow it was taking my insurance to pay him. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? What am I supposed to do about that? How about some fucking patient care, you jerk?"
Damn.
It's almost as
Wow.
if doctors aren't known for being cold and callous and sociopaths, especially
Yeah.
surgeons. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty common.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I watched Grey's Anatomy. So I saw some episodes.
Well, I'm curious how much time had passed. He said that the one surgery was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then he complains about him as a purpose. And he's like, then I went in for a follow-up and he was complaining about not getting paid. And I'm like, is it 10 years past and he's still not getting paid?
That would
I
be
think
like
an
a
asshole
complaint.
too.
You know what?
Like,
He can complain
All right,
if it's been
10
10 years.
Right?
Yeah, and he's like, no, year 12, that's when you can complain.
I used to work for a psychiatrist. I was like his office manager, and he used to never pay me on time ever because he would be like, "Oh, well, the insurance companies haven't given me the money yet." I'm like, I don't fucking care. I work.
Pay out of pocket.
Yeah, I'm
don't
like,
have
you
any
live
control over that.
in
Yeah.
Coronado. I've been to your home and I've seen it, and you drive a Range Rover. Like, you can pay me on time. But they do take a long time to pay. They do, it
Not
turns out
surprised by that.
nothing you can do as a person to speed up your insurance company.
Yeah. Has anyone ever called their insurance been like, "Hey, I know you're taking care of this doctor bill, but can you make it snappy?"
I need to go back.
Yeah, this guy won't talk to me anymore. Keeps bugging me about it.
I'm trying to get a follow-up appointment. He's like, no service till I get paid.
All right, going to start wrapping up here. Dan, is there anything you want to plug before we sign off?
Sure. You can check out my podcast, the Art of Bombing podcast. It's on all places where you get podcasts, artofbombingpod.com, Art of Bombing Pod on all social media, and then my comedy, danbublitz.com, dbublitz comedy on all social media.
All right, you can follow the podcast. Make sure to subscribe on Spotify and iTunes, and you can follow the podcast on Instagram at @ZeroIfICould. You can follow me personally at Raul Z Comedy. Brittany, where can they find you?
At Bitchney H.
You can follow Brittany at Bitchney H on Instagram. And Jake, where can they find you?
Just leave me alone.
All right, that has been our episode. Thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you to our guest Dan Bublitz for the episode today. And
Thanks
that's
for having
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.